A man's greatest victories are often the silent battles fought alone. The world sees the edifice, the strength, the command. It rarely sees the lonely nights, the solitary walks, the internal dialogues that carve out the bedrock of his resolve. This is not a weakness. It is the ultimate source of power. We are conditioned to believe that connection is strength, that companionship is the balm for all ailments. For most, this is true. But for the man destined for something greater, for the man who must bear a heavier burden, solitude is not a void to be filled, but a space to be occupied. It is a workshop where the self is refined, sharpened, and tempered into something unbreakable. Consider the great architects of empires, the Stoic philosophers who guided generations, the artists who captured the human condition. Their most profound work emerged not from the clamor of the crowd, but from the quiet intensity of their own minds. They understood that the external world is a fleeting reflection. True substance is built from within, brick by solitary brick. The modern world screams for attention, for validation, for constant engagement. It abhors silence. It fears the man who can sit with himself, who requires no external applause. This fear is understandable. A man who is truly comfortable in his own company, who has mastered his inner landscape, is a force that cannot be easily manipulated or controlled. He is his own sovereign. This journey into solitude is not a retreat from life, but a deeper immersion into its essential truths. It is where a man confronts his own shadows, his own fears, his own limitations. Without the distractions of others, without the pressure to perform or conform, he is free to engage in the brutal, honest self-examination that is the hallmark of true growth. When did the fear of being alone become synonymous with failure? When did the capacity for self-reliance become a social stigma? This is the open loop we must address. The shame associated with solitude is a modern invention, a consequence of a society that prioritizes superficial connection over profound self-knowledge. The ancient world revered the hermit, the contemplative, the solitary warrior. They understood that the greatest battles are fought not on the field, but within the mind. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, frequently returns to the power of inner sanctuary. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. This imperative is best heeded when the noise of the world fades. It is in silence that the emperor, writing to himself, truly hears his own counsel. The demands of empire were immense, the pressures constant, yet he consistently turned inward for his strength, his clarity, and his peace. Think of the soldier on watch. The world sleeps, but he stands guard. His is a silent vigil, a solitary responsibility. The weight of potential danger rests upon his shoulders. He draws his fortitude not from the snoring of his comrades, but from the discipline etched into his very being, from the knowledge that he alone stands between order and chaos. His strength is amplified by his isolation. Or consider the monk in his cell dedicating his life to contemplation. His chosen path is one of profound separation from the world's distractions. This is not an act of cowardice, but of intense focus. He seeks not to escape reality, but to understand its deepest currents, a pursuit that requires an unwavering commitment to solitude. Embracing solitude means understanding that your primary relationship is with yourself. It is about cultivating an inner dialogue that is both critical and compassionate, that pushes you towards your highest potential without succumbing to self-pity. This internal discipline is the foundation upon which all external achievements are built. A man who cannot command his own thoughts cannot command his destiny. The external world will always seek to impose its will. It will offer comfort, distraction, and the illusion of belonging. But the man who has spent time alone, who has navigated the challenging terrain of his own psyche, possesses an inner compass that is immune to external pressures. He knows his own North Star. This is the loneliness that builds, the isolation that tempers. It is not an absence of people, but a presence of self. It is the conscious choice to step away from the superficial to engage with the essential. It is the quiet strength that arises when a man stops seeking validation from outside and begins to cultivate it from within. When you are truly alone with no one to blame and no one to lean on, who do you become? The answer to that question is the truest measure of your character. It is in those moments, stripped bare of all external props, that a man discovers his intrinsic worth. He learns that his resilience is not a gift, but a skill honed through practice. The quiet strength of the solitary man is often misunderstood. It is not a sign of social failure, but of profound self-possession. It is the deep reservoir of power that allows him to face adversity with equanimity, to lead with integrity, and to remain unswayed by the fleeting opinions of others. This is the ultimate form of independence. He who can dwell alone, and is content to do so, has gained mastery over himself and the world. He is no longer a slave to the opinions or needs of others. His strength is his own, forged in the crucible of his own making. So do not shy away from the quiet hours. Do not fear the empty room. See them instead as sacred spaces, as opportunities to connect with the most important person in your life, yourself. For it is in this profound, often lonely embrace that the unshakable man is truly born. The world sees the man who stands firm. It does not always see the solitude that made him so.